Hello there, friends. It's Ashley here from the Loopy Lamb and theloopylamb.com. And today we're going to be taking a look at these new yarn cakes available at Michael's from Yarnspirations called Caron Spice Cakes. So we're going to be taking a look at the yarn, some swatches that I've crocheted up using these spice cakes, and I'll also be sharing some information about a free pattern that I have designed using the spice cakes. So if you're ready to get started, please hit that like button and please consider subscribing to this channel. And we're going to get ready to jump on in. So the new Caron Spice Cakes are a variegated colorway, and it's applied yarn. And let me see if I can pull the strand out here. Each ply is made of a different color and then twists together. So it's creates kind of like a marled effect, and it is really visually interesting. There's a lot of interest going on as you're crocheting the project and in the completed project. Now, taking a look at the yarn label information here, the front of the label indicates that it has a unique gradient effect. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later in the video as I show you some swatches and show you how the gradient kind of progresses. The limited time only symbol is again on this new yarn cake. Yarnspirations has been bringing out a lot more limited time only products, which, I have some mixed feelings about, only in that, I think that's great. And it does create that, people want to go and buy it and they want to buy it quickly. However, it doesn't give a ton of time for people who want to design with it to get a design done and properly tested and everything before it's taken off the shelves. And then people have a hard time finding it. But anyways, so moving on, this is a size 6 super bulky weight yarn, and I would say that is an accurate description. It's not an overly thin yarn. I wouldn't say it's as thick as, say, maybe Lion Brand Woolly's Thick and Quick, but it is definitely heavier than your standard size 5 weight yarn. This is a machine washable and dryable yarn, and it's 100% acrylic. They come in these cakes that are 227 grams or 8 ounces. And in one of those cakes, you'll get 239 yards or 218 meters. The recommended hook size for these Caron Spice Cakes is an 8mm hook or USL-11. And for knitters, it's a recommended US 11 or 8mm needle. For the gauge swatch information, they say that you should get about 8 single crochets and 10 rows in a 4x4 inch swatch for crocheters. And for knitters, you can expect to get 10 stitches and 14 rows in a 4x4 inch swatch. As this is an acrylic yarn, you can see here in our laundry information that it does not recommend ironing or dry cleaning. The colorways that I have here, the one here on the left is called Brave Wave, and the one here on my right is called Indigo Go. Now, the swatches that I did here were a little different than I normally do, and I'll explain why I did these a little differently this time. So I used a N or 9mm hook. This is the Furls birthday hook that I love to use, and when I used an 8mm hook, I found there was really no drape. I had a really, really stiff fabric, and I really didn't like that. So I went up to a 9, and I got a little bit more. But if I were to do this again, maybe with a selection of different stitches, I'd probably opt for a larger hook. Now at the bottom here, I did some swatching for my design just to see how the texture worked with this yarn, and I really enjoyed how it was working up. Again, I used a 9mm for this, and then I moved up here into my regular swatching that I do for my reviews. So I have some rows of single crochet here, followed by some rows of half double, and then we've got some rows at the top of double crochet. Now, I'm hoping that the camera is picking up the gradient and how it's working up in a swatch like this for you. So you might be able to pick up that there are some lighter notes here, and over here we've got some darker spots, especially centered in this area here. We've got some really dark blues where we have a smoky gray blue mixed with a brighter royal blue. But depending on your stitches that you're using, your gauge and the size of your project will determine how your yarn is pooling. For me, there wasn't really very large sections of color in this Brave Wave cake that I used. So the changes were relatively quick. So you can see there's some light here. The light section ends here, moves into the dark for about 2.5 rows, and then moves into this lighter section here. And the lighter section actually started changing right after the second double crochet. And even I can just pull the strand across and I can see that the color changes. I probably would have gotten one more double crochet out of this before the colors changed once again. So you can see here I don't have a ton of drape in this fabric with a 9mm hook. You can, on this end, because of the change in of the stitch, it does lend itself to having a little bit more drape. Now, in my project, I did use that hook size, and the drape ended up working out to be really, really nice because I do lightly steam block that project, which helped the fibers to relax. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and I'll bring in that project. Now, we're in the process of tech editing and grading this pattern, but that's the wrong side here. I've designed a children's scarf, and it's being graded right now into an adult size. And this probably took me an hour or so to make, and I still have all of this left from my yarn cake. I probably have enough here to make a ear warmer at minimum for my son to go with his new scarf. And again, I'm hoping that it picks up the gradient changes for you here. We've got, let's see, we've got the green blue mix that goes from here to here. Then we've got two light grays, blues together. Then we've got a little blue, darker blue and light green. And then we've got royal blue and light blue here. So for my personal project and what I'm working on with my personal gauge, the color sections are looking to be about this long, and it changes depending on where we are in the project, right? So, and some of the colors in the cake are shorter than others. Like this little bit of lime green does tend to be shorter when it's mixed with this smoky blue than when it is mixed with the royal blue, for instance. So, working with the yarn, I didn't have any issues with splitting, as I tend to have experience with yarns that have the plies twisted like this with a lot of splitting. I've experienced that in a lot of other yarns like that, but I did not have that with this yarn. It was a pleasure to work with. It's quite soft. And if you've ever worked with a Caron anniversary cake, this yarn feels almost exactly the same as the anniversary cake, and was really just overall pleasant to work with. Here in Canada, one of these cakes is retailing for $14.99 Canadian plus tax, and because they're brand new, they are being excluded, unfortunately, from the current promotions for the Caron cakes that are on sale. But the yardage is not terrible for the price, 239 yards, but personally, if I were to grab a few more of these, I'd wait until it was on sale before getting some more. But if you have any questions or comments about this yarn, I would love to hear from you and help you out in any way that I can. Please leave them in the comment section below. And if you have any experience working with this yarn, we'd also love to hear your experience. Please share that with our community in the comment section below as well. If you would like to check out this free pattern when it becomes available, it will be available on my blog, theloopylamb.com, along with all my other free crochet patterns you can find there as well. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and please consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Happy hooking, and I'll see you next time.